The following is a monthly breath tip from the Breath Club, which is on Patreon right now. This is a club that's been going since 2020. This particular breath tip comes from December 2021, whenever I first started doing breath tips. And every month I've been doing a breath tip, but this is our very first one. Now it's not stale, it's just that it's a few years old at this point. I had a much fuller beard whenever I gave this breath tip. And if you'd like access to this, plus all of the other breath tips that have come ever since then, just join the Patreon club at the $10 tier. You can take a look at the links below. When you join the Breath Club, no matter what tier you join at, you get access to my full catalog of guided breathwork sessions using a variety of techniques and styles, a little bit of everything, something to go to sleep, something to wake up, blissing out, guided meditations, you name it. There's over 100 sessions in there, beautifully mixed to music, ready for you at any time. Some of them are long, some of them are as short as 4 minutes. Others go for a whole hour. You name it, it's there. And if you join at the $10 tier, you get breath tips just like this one. So check out this month's breath tip here on YouTube. And if you'd like to catch up on all the ones that you've missed ever since 2021, join the Breath Club and I'll see you on the inside. Today, we're going to talk about the monthly breathing tip. And I'm going to actually give you a way that you can graduate slowly to nasal breathing only. Now, there are many different styles and techniques that we use in this club, and there's a lot of different styles and techniques out there. Many of you guys come to this club from maybe doing Wim Hof method, or maybe doing maybe vibration, rebirthing, holotropic breath work, a lot of the more what I would consider hard breathing, the kind of breath work that you're doing a lot of circular breathing. And a lot of times in these styles of breath work, they come to me, they say, you know, Jesse, you talk about how we should be doing nasal breathing as much as possible. And then we've got these styles of breath work that are incredibly active and powerful. Should we be doing nasal breathing on that? And if so, how do I ever do that? Because I don't feel like I can really breathe as powerfully doing nasal breathing as opposed to using the mouth all the time. Now here's the answer that I'm going to give you, and other people may give you different answers, but you know, I've been around, I've done my share of sampling breath work. I don't know of any style of breath work that I would prefer doing all mouth breathing. Now you might have seen other videos, you might have seen older videos from me where I used to do mouth breathing only. And it wasn't until I started doing nasal breathing for everything, that I really started to see the incredible changes. So I just want to encourage you to try to do nasal breathing. Now there's a few ways you can start doing this, and I'm just going to take you through some steps, okay? And literally, if I'm doing deep circular breathing, I'm doing this. I am 100% nasal, okay? And I used to be in through the nose, out through the mouth, and that's fine too. At least do in through the nose, okay? But it's like, hey, I can't seem to make that happen, or if I do that, it gets painful. I understand. Let me take you through some steps. First and foremost, there is a technique that you can do. You can pull your cheeks out to the side. Just try this with me and take a nice deep breath into the nose. Okay, and what that does, and you can also, you know, you can do it like this. I've seen people do it both ways, you know, and really this particular maneuver is opening up your sinuses. It helps open it up. And you may have seen like those breath strips you put on your nose, and those are kind of doing a similar thing. They're opening up your sinuses. They're opening those up. Now, having said that, that's great. You know, that's a great way to start. So I mean, you can really get a lot of mileage out of that. However, as many of you probably already know, it's not a great way to meditate, right? It's not a great way to stay present if you're constantly having to hold your nose like that. But it is a great way to start. And believe me, even if you start a session and you start this way, and then eventually you have to go back to mouth breathing eventually, the more time you stay nasal only, your nose actually will become more resilient. Like your sinuses, it's incredible. It's a weird thing for me to actually brag about, but man, my sinuses are incredibly resilient. I've got very strong sinuses. And it's only because I've eventually graduated to doing sinus only. So, okay, you can hold these out, you can do like that, or you can do it like out like this. Experiment to see what you think. Another thing you can do is what we call Coomer breathing. And Coomer breathing is literally, well, it's kind of like you're creating a third nostril with your mouth, okay? And it does take a little practice to get it, but if you make it with your mouth, like purse your lips where it's about the same size as a nostril, and just try breathing in and out. So you are breathing in with your mouth, but also your nose as well. And what you're doing is you're letting up a little on the pressure. There's a lot less resistance. So your nose, when you do sinus breathing, it's about 80% more resistance than whenever you go in and out through your mouth. What you're doing is you're reducing that resistance and you're allowing it a little bit easier. So just think about this. Okay, so you're still adding more resistance than if you were breathing in and out through your mouth, so you're using your sinuses, but you're allowing a little bit of extra relief on that resistance through your mouth, okay? That is Coomer breathing, and literally some people just sit there and do Coomer breathing, nice and slow. The trick is to modulate your mouth so it is exactly the same size and resistance as a third nostril might be, if you could create that. So that is a way to graduate. So we got this, we got Coomer breathing, and then the next one really does come down to it's in through the nose, out through the mouth. You can try it that way, or you can try in and out through the nose. There's really past Coomer breathing, it's going to depend on what you're doing in your everyday life. So like when you're exercising, when you are talking, just really try to focus on always inhaling through the nose. Like when we talk, oftentimes we forget that and we start inhaling through our mouth. And so it's a great way to, okay, those sinuses are always being used. Also, whenever you're speaking and you're trying to use your sinuses to inhale, you're going to do it with a little bit more force than if you had the time. And that's just because you want to make sure to continue on with your sentence. You don't want to have this long pause. So you're going to have a little bit of motivation, to take a nice deep inhale. You want to make sure to use your diaphragm. If you haven't taken my online course, take the online course. You get a huge discount because you're in the Patreon club. But you want to make sure to pull down with your diaphragm, open the nose, and just get in the practice of taking as many deep breaths through your sinuses as possible. Remembering, yes, I understand that it can hurt your ears, and so this is why we graduate slowly. I've always had ear problems my whole life, but because I graduated slowly but steadily, I was able to, I can do, I can really go with my sinuses. Eventually, if you exercise, and I recommend that you do, you're going to want to try to run, jog, walk fast, do, cardio bike or whatever it is you want to do, but 100% in and out through the nose. And then only whenever you're just in dire straits, only whenever you're really, really heavy breathing, okay, you can breathe out through the mouth. And then only whenever it's like the last 1% of your energy is being expended, fine, you can breathe in and out through your mouth if you just need to. But believe me, you don't have to do it. We as human beings have the capacity to breathe 100% nasal, even at maximum capacity. And what this will do is it also increases your CO2 tolerance. If you take a look at some of the CO2 tolerance videos in the Patreon course, or in the Patreon club, you're gonna notice that if you raise that CO2 tolerance, you don't have to breathe as hard. You don't have to breathe as hard when you're exercising, okay? But anyway, okay, so we start with this maneuver. This makes it nice and easy. Then we can do Coomer, or you can mix these stuff. You can mix and match. Everyone's on their own journey. And then beyond that, make sure that you're always breathing in and out through the nose, no matter what. Whenever you're having a conversation, when you're driving, when you're running, when you're jogging, always use the nose. And then you're gonna really want to start practicing whatever techniques you like to practice. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and then eventually inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. When you get to the point of being able to inhale and exhale through your nose, and just breathing as hard and as fast as you want to, it will bring you to a new level of breath work that you've never experienced before. It is literally, I don't do anything other than nasal now. Whether I'm practicing Wim Hof method, whether I'm practicing Vivation, whether I'm practicing shamanic breathing, whether I'm practicing hypoxic breathing, any of the techniques that you see in the Patreon Club, I do 100% nasal now, all of it. And except for, I guess, the reverse straw, some of those where it's specifically for the mouth. But nasal is the key, and I highly recommend it. If you take a look at last month's video, it's a great way how to clear your sinuses and keep them nice and clear. And of course, that's also helpful for breathing through your nose as well. So take a look at last month's video on the sinus clearing technique. Thanks for watching this breath tip. I hope to see you in the Breath Club. There's a lot more information waiting for you there. In addition to that, you've got all sorts of sessions and discounts and insider tips on the new things that are coming out in my breathwork practice and the language of breath. Hope to see you inside.